Hey, hey, hey! My name's Helly Undescripted, or Nephilim if you prefer. Welcome to my cozy corner of the internet. I am happy to announce that this is my first one-shot reading. Today I will be reading a one-shot written by my friend XX Cypress Minerva XX on AO3, which is entitled Love Somebody Else? My birthday was earlier this week and I had a wonderful day. The summary of this one-shot is as followed. Toya, Kago swallows thickly. I think I just fell in love with you all over again. Dabi visibly falters. What? Kago looked almost bashful, unsure of himself, and fuck, it made that weird feeling curl in his chest again. I wouldn't lie to you. Whatever you say, double agent, Dabi remarked, brain still buzzing from the casual confession. Kago was in love with him? Him, out of everyone in the entire world? It sounded too good to be true. He was fucking insane for being in love with someone like Dabi. He could have someone normal, someone who wasn't insane or brutal or hell-bent on revenge. Yet the fact that Kago still managed to love him despite knowing all of that sent a thrill throughout his body. This one-shot includes topics that may be triggering for some viewers. If you are likely to be affected by any of the following: implied sexual content, fluff and angst, and blood kinks, then please consider listening to another one of my videos, such as the Adro series, which is also written by XX Cypress Minerva XX. This is set post-canon. Now I implore you to sit back and relax whilst I read to you. Love Somebody Else? Written by XX Cypress Minerva XX. Love was a foreign thing to Dabi. As he grew up, he sure as hell never felt loved. His old man never treated his goddamn kids like anything but products. And his mother was never really there for him. Who could blame her? Her monster of a husband kept him away from anything that could have distracted him from training. He vaguely remembered her voice, her soft, cool hands that soothed his scorching hot skin. She often tended to his burns whenever she could, until Endeavour was dragging her away. Dabi used to think that maybe, just maybe, that was what love was. But he was wrong. It was guilt. Disgust! She didn't look at him once whilst bandaging his arms, no doubt to prevent herself from seeing the electric blue eyes he had been cursed with. He knew he looked like that burning pile of trash. The splitting image, really. So he kept silent, even when she left the room at a brisk pace to hold back her tears. She never loved him. If she had, why hadn't she left Endeavour the first chance she got? She could have stopped him. She could have fucking protected him. Left that arsehole and taken her fucking kids too. They wouldn't have believed her. But hell, at least she had fucking tried. It was always him protecting his siblings, not her. Dabi was the one who shielded Natsuo, Fumi, hell, even Shoto from their fucking father. He took the blows, the fire, the screams. He worked himself to the bone to be his perfect son, just so he could give them a little bit of fucking peace. It wasn't enough. Dabi was never enough. And that's why he fucking snapped. Dear old dad hates his guts now? Fucking fine. He'd release his fires so scorching hot that he would burn his perfect son to ash. Toya died in that fire, and any foreign emotions died with him. Someone snaps their fingers in front of his face, and Dabi stirs from his thoughts, shifting abruptly from his place on the couch. What? Kago gives him a cheeky grin, feathers puffing up with excitement. Sorry, just wanted to make sure you weren't dead. As if you'd care. Kago shrugs, frown tugging at his lips. I don't know, man. That would kinda suck, not having my loyal sidekick around. Real boring. I'm not your fucking sidekick, bird brain, Dabi said immediately, crossing his arms over his chest, offended. Don't be stupid. Kago laughs delightedly at his reaction, shooting him a smug smile. Whatever you say, man. No need to get frisky. Fucking Dabi's lips curled with disdain as he practically snarled, Piss off! Kago chuckles, but puts his hands up in surrender. All right. All I'm saying is we make a good team, even if you're a psycho. Dabi bristles at the accusation, but doesn't bother to comment because he wasn't wrong. So yeah, anyhow, when are Toga and Twice coming back? I'm starving. You're a hero, with fucking wings. Just go and get some food yourself. Nevertheless, Dabi shifts to glance at the door where Toga and Twice were supposed to enter from, his stomach churned. No one's stopping you. And leave you all alone? Never. The bird leans his head back on the couch with a small sigh, wings flattening out beside him. I still got like 4 hours to annoy the shit out of you before my meeting. Aw, is Birdman worried about the big bad villain? Dabi snarks teasingly, draping himself over the armrest with an unsettling grin. Who knew you were such a fucking softie? Kago pulls a face, tugging uncomfortably at his jacket collar, and Dabi almost swears he sees a blush rising up his neck. Shut up. No, keep going. My ego's been dying for attention. It's Kago's turn to glare, eyes flashing murderously, but it was hard for Dabi to take him seriously, because his face was flushed pink. He looked almost bashful, unsure, and fuck if that didn't make something flutter in his chest. Heartburn? Or maybe anticipation? He was itching for a fight. What's on your mind, chicken feed? None of your business, Kago remarked. Seemingly regaining some of his composure, he coughs into his fist and stands, wings flaring out behind him as he shifts towards the window. I'ma go look for them. You want anything from KFC? Dabi's face crumples with disgust, and he waves a dismissive hand. Nah, don't buy me anything. Not that hungry. Kago studies him a moment, no doubt wanting to protest, but relents. He takes off into the air with practiced ease, wings rattling the glass in their sills as he darts away. Dabi watches him go for a minute, too, and then his eyes snap shut as a sudden wave of this weird feeling churns inside him. It feels like he's flying, an exhilarating feeling that makes him feel like anything's possible, like nothing else matters. It's nice, to say the least. So that's why he instantly hates it. Did you have to jump from the window? Kago was grumbling to him, yellow eyes glimmering with annoyance, as he did his best to splint Dabi's leg. Dabi inhales sharply through his teeth, but doesn't dare make any sounds of pain, even if his leg hurts like a bitch. He was hurt, sure, but one wrong move and the bird might take advantage of him. He didn't doubt his own strength, but fighting in his condition probably wasn't the best idea. You should have waited for me to get back. I could have handled it myself. You're saying that like I had a fucking choice, that I also had a fucking gun. Dabi snarls, shifting uncomfortably as he shifts his weight to the right. And it's not like you could do shit about it. You got roughed up too, bird brain. Kago absent-mindedly traces the cut across his face, smearing his blood across his cheekbone. Yeah, well I have wings. You don't. He delivered in a deadpan voice, raising one for emphasis. Fair point. Dabi's vision was a little blurry. Damn nearsighted eyes. Just hold still for a sec, okay? You broke your fucking leg, man. It'll be messed up for life if it doesn't heal properly. Gee, don't you sound happy about it. I can still kick your ass like this. From their close proximity, Dabi can reach up and touch the cut on his face. Kago inhales sharply, leaning away with a grumble. Don't do that. Your blood's gonna give me some kind of infection or something. Kago mumbles, rolling his eyes at the laugh he received. What? You don't want your precious blood tainted, Mr. Image of Purity? Dabi grins deviously as Kago coughs into his fist, ears red. That sounds fucking dirty, asshole. Aren't you supposed to be in pain? He mumbles softly, piecing the splint together with strips of cloth he pulls from his pockets. Despite himself, Dabi can't help but feel a little grateful that he was patching him up. There was a flutter of that feeling again, but this time Dabi is quick to stamp it down as Keigo looks at him, amusement twinkling in his eyes. There we go. Should keep you from messing out more. Yeah, thanks or whatever. Dabi stumbles to his feet, feeling a wave of nausea wash over him. He leans heavily on the wall and squeezes his eyes shut. He can feel Keigo's presence hovering over him, and he waves a dismissive hand, shooing him away. I'm fine. Stop looking at me like that, you stupid bird. Keigo doesn't budge. What kind of hero would I be if I left you here passed out on the street? I can't just leave you alone without supervision. He nods towards Dabi's broken leg. I mean, look what happens. Fuck you. I would, but you aren't really in the best condition for such activities. Keigo jokes, easy smile falling on his lips. Dabi glares at him, for once thankful for his scars that hid the prickling heat rising up his neck. The fuck? Was he fucking blushing? Like some pathetic schoolgirl? Fucking shit. That leg of yours is gonna take longer than 2 weeks to heal. And by then, I'll have died from that blood infection, so... Dabi scoffs, a degree of the fluttering feeling intensifying. Please, as if I'd let you die that easily. Instead of taking him seriously, Keigo made an amused pfft and flashed him a $1 million grin that he was far too used to seeing in interviews. Aw, how sweet. You saying only you can kill me? He knows he should have shut the fuck up ages ago, but he continues anyway, heart pounding furiously as he scowls back at the blonde. I'm fucking saying that you belong to me, bird brain. That last sentence was a mistake, and he can't help but kick himself internally as Keigo stares at him with wide eyes, all traces of humour gone from his face. A long silence stretches out between them, and Dabi growls, the urge to set something ablaze building in his chest, shoving aside the fluttery feeling from before. The fuck you staring at? Got something to say? And then Keigo's lips spread into a faint but grateful smile. Sure. He turns away from Dabi, shrugging his jacket into place as he prepares to take flight. See ya, Dabi. We'll figure this out after my shift is over, yeah? Whatever. Later, Hawks. He says, expression blank, as he watched Keigo launch himself into the air and take flight. What can he say? The bird was fascinating. That fluttering feeling reappears as soon as it left, making his shriveled, vengeful heart beat faster in his chest. Heat pulls into his burned cheeks, and he scowls at his splint, hating the thoughts that came with it. Dumbass bird. I thought I'd find you out here, Toya. He felt a twinge of irritation upon hearing his old name, but it quickly passes at the stillness in the air between them. So Dabi doesn't respond, taking a long drag of his cigarette with a small sigh. He doesn't have to turn around to know who it was. After all, Keigo was the only person who would ever dare to get this close to him, much less call him by his real name. Especially after all that had happened with Endeavor and Twice and Keigo's wings. What are you doing here, Keigo? He asks boredly. But in reality, he's curious. What else could Keigo possibly want from him? Was he suicidal, coming all this way to talk to him with no means to defend himself? Really, was he crazy? Well, then again, this was Keigo Takami he was talking about. He had to be at least a little bit insane. I want to talk. That's all. Dabi turns to look at him then, incredulous. For a moment, the thought of setting Keigo on fire and making a quick escape crosses his mind. But he quickly dismisses the idea. It would be pointless. Keigo was already defenseless as it was, and Dabi didn't give a shit anymore. It's for that reason, and that reason alone, that he decides to humour the former hero. He tilts his head mockingly to the side, lips twisting into a sneer. Careful what you say, little bird. You just might get burned. Ooh, Scary, Keigo mutters, tugging the collar of his jacket up and giving him a faint smile. I'm shaking in my boots. See? Dabi scowls and looks away, staring at the horizon as he takes another drag from his cigarette. Did you come all this way just to piss me off? Not this time, Keigo chirps happily, inching closer to Dabi until said male gives him a warning stare. He isn't fazed in the slightest, coming to the edge of the rooftop to stand beside him. Figured you might be lonely, tearing down society and all, toy. Don't fucking call me that! Dabi snapped, veins burning with a familiar rage. Toya was a lively little brat that loved to make his siblings laugh and snuck out every night to take little Kay to look at the stars with him. Toya wasn't this. A cold-blooded villain who was so hell-bent on revenge. Don't talk to me like we're fucking friends. Or did you already forget about twice? About me? No, Keigo says quietly, and Dabi can hear his smile fade. No, I didn't forget. How could I? There's a strain in his voice, as if he was holding back tears. Something in Dabi's chest curls with guilt, but he ignores it. I mean, it's not like I don't have to remind myself every day, whenever I look at the mirror. You know that, right? He did. Oh, he fucking did. Ever since Dabi had burned off his wings, forever grounding him, he had lost that fluttering feeling that used to bloom in his chest whenever he laid eyes on Keigo. Now, whenever he looked at him, he was instantaneously reminded of the monster he had become. It made his eyes sting, and he wanted to scream, but he knew he couldn't. He'd still be the same as he was all those years ago, as he watched his body be consumed by his own quirk. Hateful, alone, angry, miserable. The shell of a broken kid looking for comfort in a cruel world. Dabi hadn't realised he had stood up until he was practically nose to nose with Keigo, snarls stretching his face in half as he glared harshly into those large golden eyes. You're such a fucking idiot. You know what I am, what I've done. All those fucking fake Gars heroes must have told you 1,000 times how dangerous I am. And you still waltz in here like we didn't try to fucking kill each other. What's wrong with you? Keigo frowns up at him, crossing his arms over his chest as his eyes narrow. Well, it's not like I have anything else left to lose. My life is just another thing you don't care about, remember? Might as well go ahead and finish the damn job already. This asshole. Shut the fuck up! Dabi growls, and Keigo must have sensed his rising anger, but he stands his ground, hands shoved deep into his pockets. Dabi was trembling with rage, but no matter how much he wants to, he can't force himself to burn Keigo. He knows it, and he hates himself for it. Just get the fuck out of here. You want to die so bad? Go pick a fight with dear old NG. I'm sure he'd love to set you ablaze. It's understandable that Dabi bristles when Keigo doesn't move. Are you deaf? I said get the fuck out of here before I... He starts to shout, but then Keigo is talking over him, cutting through his empty threats. What are you gonna do? Keigo asks quietly, cruel smile twisting his features. Give me another scar? Burn the whole city down just like before? I'm not scared of you. So get that through your fried brain. I don't have to do shit. Who gives a damn if you're not afraid? Dabi finally manages to step away from the blonde, dropping his cigarette on the ground and smothering it to ash with his boot. I'm leaving. Don't try to fucking follow me. He starts toward the fire escape, reeling back when Keigo firmly plants his hands onto Dabi's shoulders, talons hooking mercilessly into his coat. Look at me, you asshole! Keigo shifts so he's blocking the fire escape from Dabi's vision, hands holding firm as Dabi tries to shrug them off. You don't want to kill me? Fine, great, but I deserve to at least have a conversation with you before you set me on fire and leave. I may not die, but I'll get some more scars. That what you want? Yep. No. He had given him too many scars already, had hurt him too many times to count. Why was he here, trying to talk to him when all he ever did was destroy things? No, he did more than destroy things. He sent a scorching fire through society that left his family more broken than before, the world reeling at his accusations of abuse from his father, staring at him with horror in his eyes as he thought tooth and nail to bring justice to fake heroes. He could have become a hero, became famous enough to expose Endeavour, but he had cracked. He burned all remaining evidence of his former life and promised he would get revenge to his last breath. And he had. But now the question was, now what? He had gotten revenge, had watched Endeavour's life crash and burn with his own eyes. After years of slowly cracking under the pressure, he had thought he would have felt whole again, happy even. But no. He had cracked and shattered into a million little pieces, and all he felt was numb. And here was Kago, trying to piece him back together. Dabi finally manages to pry Kago's hands from his shoulders, stalking past him toward the fire escape. He doesn't follow, even when his hand brushes the ladder. Don't give a fucking shit. I'm done talking. Goodbye, Kago. Look, man, I'm not blind. I know what happened with Endeavour and your siblings, your mum. Dabi falters, and his head twists quickly, eyes wide and flashing with a warning. A low growl rumbles from his chest. Kago meets his gaze, lips twisting into a sad smile. I know what happened to you, Toya, and I'm so fucking sorry it turned out like this, man, and it's not too late either. You can still be saved. I can still be saved, Dabi repeats, unwilling to believe what he was hearing. His eyes narrow, and his jaw clenches. Are you serious? Well, fucking answer this, little bird. Why are you still fucking here? Why am I here? I didn't ask for you. I didn't ask to fucking be alive. I didn't ask for any of this, Dabi shouted. And I did? Kago shouted back. Dabi clenched his fists to stop the fire from bursting out. He immediately shuts off, going as far to turn his head away so he doesn't look at him. You don't fucking know. How could you? You're everyone's perfect little hero. Hey now, you aren't the only one with a crappy father. Hawks and mumbles under Dabi's scrutinizing glare. Just talk to me. Tell me your plan. It's not like I'm much of a threat. You're right. He's wrong. Only Kago could ever look at him like that, face shining so bright in the moonlight that it makes him wonder what would have changed if Dabi had just been good. It's stupid. Impossible. But he still dreams about those days when Dabi, Toya at the time, and Kago would steal away from their lives to hang out together. It was simpler then. I can't fucking tell you, Kago, even if I wanted to. His response was so ridiculous that it makes him laugh, although it's slightly hysterical. It's like I'm set on fire, being a fucking monster. Don't you get it? I can't. Dabi's shoulders heave, suddenly feeling defeated and fucking tired. He wanted Kago to hate him again. No, Dabi needed Kago to hate him again. Nothing was more cruel than having the bird try to rekindle their old relationship, trying to find a way to soothe his burning skin. He wanted Kago to hurt him, to beat him to the ground. At least then he'd know what to do. The blonde grows quiet at that, brows creasing together as he bites his lip. He's thinking hard, probably another way to get through to him, but it'll only make him feel worse, piss him off even more. Because he looks so small and vulnerable without his wings. Fuck! Alright then, the blonde says finally, shrugging. Since we're unloading all our shit onto each other, I guess I should tell you I've been in love with you since I was 11, so... Kago admits leisurely, shrugging again as if he hadn't revealed groundbreaking news. Read into that however you want. You're only saying this crap because you love the old me, Dabi argued half-heartedly, because despite everything, he wanted to believe him. I'm not the same as when we were kids. Get that through your stupid bird brain. I've changed too, arsehole. Get that through your stupid fried brain. Kago steps closer, gingerly brushing his white fringe from Dabi's eyes. His touch so foreign, gentle, that it makes him pause. It's stupid, but I don't hate you. I don't think I can. That was... Dabi didn't know how to respond, especially because he'd hurt Kago time and time again. He was bound to hurt him in the future. Dabi peeled his lip back into a grin he knew unsettled Kago. If he got the bird to hate him again, then Kago wouldn't have to care about him. Careful, little bird. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. Kago didn't look deterred. In fact, he actually smiled back, gaze soft. I do, because I know you. A little too much, actually. We'll figure something out, I promise. Aren't you ever the optimist? Dabi snorted and slapped away Kago's hand that was touching his face. You can't pretend everything's okay now. I'm still a wanted fucking criminal. Nothing's changed. As long as the crappy hero system still stands. Yeah, I know. Kago bowed his head, eyes briefly lowering to his hands before darting back up to Dabi's. There's a determined fire in them that he hadn't seen before. That's exactly why I want to help you. We'll reform it together. What? You fucking with me? Dabi furrowed his eyebrows as he tried to figure out what the fuck Kago could be planning. Was this another one of his lies? Hadn't Kago willingly dedicated his life to becoming a hero, even at the cost of his own goddamn name? He'd had the hero agenda literally beaten into him, been moulded into the Commission's perfect soldier, and now Dabi was supposed to believe he'd suddenly changed? Why? I never hated being a hero. I wanted to be one so bad as a kid to actually make a difference, but in reality it feels like a cage that I can't escape from, Kago murmured, and it sounded so sincere, too honest to be a lie, as if he was speaking from something deep down that had been forcefully locked away. I want to be free with you. I don't want to be trapped anymore. Dabi opened his mouth to argue, to call out his bullshit because Kago had said the same fucking thing to twice. But Kago beat him to it. There's a lot of things that I wish I hadn't done, people I've hurt. I knew it was wrong, but did it anyway. If I just refused. He trailed off, to cock his head, giving Dabi a heart-wrenching smile. I'm no better than a villain, really. But helping you, it feels right. The amount of joy Dabi felt at those words was almost frightening. He timidly placed a hand on Kago's face and ran his thumb along the border of a burn scar he had forgotten was there, the scar he had given him. Fuck. That's all I ever wanted to hear from you. You always believed in heroes, and I fucking hated it. Funny. Kago let out a breathless laugh and pressed his face closer to Dabi's palm. I wanted to be the first real hero, for you. Guess that didn't work out, eh? You were the Hero Commission's little toy. Would have never worked. Dabi smiles, feeling the staples pull taut against his skin with the action. So I'll help set you free, Kay. Kago's eyes slipped shut at the nickname, and his voice was hushed with wonder, like he couldn't believe this was all happening. We'll save each other, Toya. I promise. We can start again. Sounds amazing, Dabi said, with his own voice falling to a whisper. Toya, Kago swallows thickly. I think I just fell in love with you all over again. Dabi visibly falters. What? Keigo looked almost bashful, unsure of himself, and fuck, it made that weird feeling curl in his chest again. I wouldn't lie to you. Whatever you say, double agent, Dabi remarked, brain still buzzing from the casual confession. Keigo was in love with him? Him, out of everyone in the entire world. It sounded too good to be true. He was fucking insane for being in love with someone like Dabi. He could have someone normal, someone who wasn't insane or brutal or hell-bent on revenge. Yet the fact that Keigo still managed to love him despite knowing all of that sent a thrill throughout his body. And even though he knew their love could only end in tragedy, Dabi found that he didn't give a fuck. He couldn't care less how this would end, so long as he could be by Keigo's side again. Dabi's eyes drifted to the bird's lips, and a heated wave of desire thrummed through his veins at how inviting they looked. You're such a fucking idiot, he says, rolling his eyes, and pushes their lips together in a bruising kiss. Keigo is understandably shocked, something like this having been probably the last thing he expects to happen. Hell, for a moment Dabi's sure it must be a dream. Kissing Keigo seems too perfect to be true. And that makes him growl with displeasure, and he bites Keigo's lower lip hard as a punishment for just standing still like an idiot instead of kissing back. Ow, what the fuck? Keigo whines, glaring furiously at Dabi as he smirks. Dabi's head feels dizzy, and the only reason his legs are keeping him up is because of the warm body pressed up against him. He watches in disgusting fascination as Keigo licks his lips, smearing small droplets of blood over his chin. It's a wound, sure, and blood usually shouldn't be this hot. But all Dabi can think about is how good Keigo looks all messed up like this, and he fucking loves it. Maybe some enthusiasm might be nice, Dabi teases, eyebrow raised, putting his palm on Hawks' chest and coming even closer. Their cheeks brush, and he lets his lips almost touch Keigo's ear when he whispers in a seductive tone. You know, if I wanted to kiss a corpse, I would ask one of the lovely guests at the morgue down the road. I hate you too, Hawks mumbles, weaving his fingers into Dabi's soft hair, and pulls his head closer to his lips so he can steal another kiss. And this time, it's a real one. Dabi immediately grabs the collar of Keigo's jacket, keeping them as close as possible, while Keigo has both of his hands tangled in his white fringe. Dabi bites his lip again, and this time gentler, and Keigo actually moans. It feels so good, a dream come true, better than he could have ever imagined. The blonde's lips are chapped, and he tastes like fucking chicken! And Dabi must have actually been dreaming, and this can't be real, because where else could he stick his tongue into Keigo's mouth and only get an approving groan in response? Finally they part, Hawks panting and bright red in the face. Dabi gives him a satisfied grin as Keigo swipes a trail of blood from his chin, which shouldn't be hot. Shouldn't, but somehow is. Just like murder. Who would have thought? If that is what it is when you hate me, then I can't wait till you love me. Dabi purrs, obviously making fun of him, but Hawks only chuckles in response. Dabi kissed him again and again to make up for lost time, and as the sun dipped into the horizon, as Keigo held on to him like a lifeline, he knew that he was okay. He's going to be okay. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate all the support you've given me. As of Monday the 6th of September, I will be back at college, but hopefully I will still be able to work on videos during my free time, and hopefully make some vlogs. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below. All credits go to the original creator of this one-shot, XX Cypress Minerva XX on AO3. I would highly appreciate it if you gave this video a like and you subscribe to the channel, and you hit the notification bell to be notified of when I next upload. There's no pressure to do so though. Thank you for visiting my cozy corner of the internet. Keep growing my sunflowers. Mwah!